On the news tonight, families pay last respect as military lays 22 officers to rest after Niger attacks. Reps ad hoc committee pledges to tackle root of insecurity in Southeast region. And ECOWAS president refutes reports of war declaration on Niger Republic. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Mary Kanu. Some of the military personnel that died during the combat and air crash incident in Niger State, which happened on the 14th of August 2023, have been laid to rest in Abuja. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, Deputy Governor of Niger State, service chiefs and family members of the deceased soldiers were present at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja. 36 officers were killed in a recent ambush and helicopter crash in Niger State. Some officers had already been buried by their families, while 22 others were buried today. Still talking security, an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives investigating communal clashes in Abia State has called for the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently in the custody of the State Security Service. The committee, chaired by Obinna Agwocha, is investigating banditry around Isukwato and Umunochi local government areas of Abia State. Agwocha says the committee must navigate the complexity of insecurity in the southeast by tackling the root cause of the problem, which begins with the unconditional release of Kanu. This next report has more details. The House of Representatives had, prior to embarking on its ongoing recess, pledged to wade into the case of embattled leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. Kanu's detention has led to a rise in worsening insecurity, as well as the imposed sit-at-home order being observed by Southeasterners, resulting in economic downturn in the region. At this public hearing, which has the Commissioner of Police of Abia State and the Nigerian Air Force in attendance, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee Chairman Obinna Agwocha called for the release of the IPOB leader as panacea for peace in the southeast.
The challenges we face are not mere statistics or headlines. They are real-life manifestations that affect the lives of our people, disrupt the functioning of our institutions and communities, thus impeding the growth of our region. Instances of criminal activities, banditry, kidnapping, assassinations, and communal and religious crises and threats to life have shaken the very foundation of our societies. As leaders and stakeholders, it is incumbent upon us to come together, transcending our differences, to find sustainable solutions that will quell these threats and pave the way for a brighter future.
A member of the committee from Abia State called for a joint security patrol while urging the Commissioner of Police and other security agencies to comb the forest to fish out criminal elements in the state.
Part of my prayer was for the President to set up a joint task force, which include the Army, the Police, the Air Force, the Civil Defense, to comb the bush areas, because we have a massive bush around that cattle market. But what I'm seeing over the time, because I travel over the weekend, this prayer, nothing has been done. They have not moved any inch inside the bush because the kidnapping keep increasing.
The Abia State Police Commissioner informed the committee that he only assumed office on the 14th of June 2023. As such, his submissions will be centered on the general appraisal of the security challenges and associated dynamics in Abia since he assumed office.
The aim of this brief, therefore, is to discuss the security situation in Umunochi and the Isukwato local government areas of Abia State with a view to profiling way forward. The discussion will be presented under the following headings: an appraisal of the security challenges and the associated dynamics.
The committee subsequently went into a closed-door session with the Abia State Commissioner of Police for an executive session on sensitive matters. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria.
And Nigeria has witnessed the rise in insecurity in recent times. So how do we tackle this issue? Well, joining me on the news to speak on the rise in insecurity is former Director Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade. It's good to have you join me on the news. Now, insecurity is clearly on the rise, and bandits seem to have been emboldened. An instance is the attack on the aircraft, resulted in the death of 36 military personnel. The alleged perpetrator, Dogo Gide, is riding on his action and calls himself governor in his domain. So do you think the Niger coup or the Niger coup is a major driver, for the surge in insecurity in recent times, or is it just merely a coincidence?
I don't think they are connected, in the sense that the insecurity as defined by you and as we can see all over the place, was on before the Nigeria situation. So the two are really not as connected as suggested. The concern, however, is it seems to be rising and disturbing to leadership and to citizens.
All right, so Nigeria has struggled, with insecurity for the longest time. So do you see an end to it? What measures do you believe should be implemented to effectively curb the escalating insecurity, especially now with the country's double defense ministers?
Well, a series of reasons have been profiled as being the basis for the observed increase in insecurity. We have the high degree of influx of arms and ammunition into the country from different sources. Our border situation is a major source of concern, and it has been a means by which the violent actors, non-state actors are having their field day, especially in places called on government spaces. And the degree of not just banditry, but the kidnapping that has penetrated into cities out of the forests. Virtually all the forests have been infiltrated. All these people will refer to as bandits. The other name for them, and the better definition for them, are terrorists. So terrorists have continued to spread their terror all over the place. We can connect this to the high degree of infiltration of arms, the use of narcotics, and the impunity that they seem to be having. Just like you mentioned, the audacity that we're beginning to see of them is indicative of how emboldened they are, that they can be making claims to refer to as propaganda, but it indicates the audacity that they are beginning to have. And it should be disturbing as it is already.
So finally, now briefly, how then do we tackle this? Because is it possible to rid the country completely of these criminal elements?
Well, concerted efforts of both the security agencies working in concert, as well as the citizenry, seeing it indeed as the big problem that it is. And I mentioned earlier the state of arms and ammunition in circulation, particularly in the open areas. If we can do a means of mopping up the arms in society, and then infuse much of technology into our border patrols, both technology and more of the military involvement in border patrol areas, to ensure that the infiltration of bandits, terrorists from outside our borders is brought to the barest minimum, so that we can contain those who are within us. It is obvious that virtually all the forests all over the country from north to south have been infiltrated by people we refer to as bandits, or indeed they are worse than bandits. The right definition for them are terrorists.
Well, former Director, Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, thank you very much for your time. To other matters now, the Nigerian Bar Association has tasked the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, to prioritize reforms in Nigeria's justice system. The president of the association, Yakubu Maikiao, disclosed this to State House correspondents after meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa, Abuja. The NBA president, who described Fagbemi's appointment as a perfect fit for the role, expressed optimism while urging collaboration between the legal community and the government.
This is one man that we can only describe as a round peg in a round hole. Someone that commands the respect of the bar, someone that has held himself high, has conducted himself in the best traditions of the bar, and we are happy that Mr. President made this choice of Prince Lateef Fagbemi to be the Attorney General of the Federation. We actually thanked Mr. President for the choice of Prince Lateef Fagbemi. The Honorable Attorney General must pay attention to the issue of the salaries and allowances of judicial officers. It is unacceptable that the last time the salaries and allowances of judicial officers was reviewed was in 2007. And it may surprise you, and it's disappointing to note that the salary of a justice of the Supreme Court is just about 750,000 naira. And so if the last time that a review was done in 2007, looking at the concrete economic reality today, can we say that the judiciary has been treated fairly? That is number one. So, and that is not just the area of judicial reform. You have to look at the entire gamut of judicial process, the prisons, the institutions that investigate cases, the institutions that prosecute cases, the delays in the adjudication of matters before the courts. Commercial matters stay as long as 20 years before the court. It discourages investors from coming to this country.
The Center for Ethics and Civic Orientation has organized a National Rebirth Conference for Nigeria. The event is aimed at promoting and to reorient Nigerians in terms of political and cultural norms and values. Speaking of the event held in Lagos, which was tagged Renewed Hope for Better Nigeria, Imperative of Ethical Reorientation, the chairman of the event, Olusonya Awosan, argues that in order to transform Nigeria into a better nation, it is necessary to harness sound ethical and cultural concepts. More details in this next report.
Resurrecting ethical principles for a better thriving society is the aim of this gathering put together by the Center for Ethics and Civic Orientation. At the event tagged Renewed Hope for Better Nigeria, Imperative of Ethical Reorientation, parents and guardians who represent custodians of culture were reminded of the need to imbibe morals in their words, which they claim has been declining over time. Speaking at the conference, the executive chairman of the Center for Ethics and Civic Orientation, Olusonya Awosan, said ethics and values are crucial for the success of the battle against corruption in Nigeria and advocated radical eradication of poverty and hunger in Nigeria.
We, as a center, we are advocating a radical approach to bringing down hunger and poverty. That is very urgent. Unless we do that first and foremost, we are still going to discover ways and means of reducing fastly, at a fast speed, hunger and starvation, with a view to encourage to promote increase in social trust. Social trust means the degree of believability and confidence that you have in your nation. People must be, in those days, we have confidence and assurance that the system will respond. But now, everywhere you look to, there is lost hope. That is why the president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has brought out the Renew Hope. And that is why, as good citizens, those of us who are in this center, we are supporting him with intellectual resources to achieve this.
Former Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communication called on parents, religious leaders, and political figures to set good examples in restoring moral values in the society.
You need to know exactly what they want. So that's what I mean by bringing the people themselves back into government. What that means is you have the opportunity now to draw from the collective wisdom of the people, hear from them directly what they want to do, so that the public policy gets closer and closer to the needs of the people. For so long, we've had systems where the government just does what it likes and there is no alignment between what the people need and what the government is doing.
Now, the Nigerian society requires a lot of conscious reawakening, and morality and ethics is a very fundamental issue that we can't run away from, because it all stems from morals, ethics, and all of that. We see it in our homes, in governance, in our institutions, in our society generally, and it's a very critical conversation, and we must constantly have this conversation.
Other stakeholders also criticized the media, urging them to be steadfast in their commitment to the truth while reporting events and to avoid being biased. Tamilore Akinkwole, TV360 Nigeria.
We'll take a break, but still to come, Nigeria's Tobias Muson dethroned as world champion in Budapest. Details of this and more when we return. Join us again. Thank you for staying. Here's a recap of our top stories. Some of the military personnel that died during the combat and air crash incident in Niger State, which happened on the 14th of August 2023, have been laid to rest in Abuja. Present at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja were top dignitaries, service chiefs, as well as family members of the deceased. We also told you that an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives investigating communal clashes in Abia State have called for the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently in the custody of the State Security Service. The committee, chaired by Obinna Gocha, investigating banditry around Issikwato and Umunochi local government areas of Abia State, says the unconditional release of Kanu will be panacea for peace in the southeast. In case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on IMX World TV or log into our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, on Facebook at TV360 Online.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came out with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Up next is business news and stock market report with Folashade Ogunrinde. Folashade, what's the latest?
Well, many thanks, Mary. Welcome to business news. Nigeria's gross domestic product just slowed to 2.51% year-on-year in real terms in the second quarter of 2023. This growth rate is lower than the 3.54% recorded in the second quarter of 2022. According to the Gross Domestic Product report published by the NBS on Friday, the growth decline may be attributed to the challenging economic conditions being experienced. Vice President Kashim Shettima says Nigeria remains committed to collaborating with China and African countries to ensure that the objectives of the partnership are achieved for the benefit of both parties. The Vice President said this at the China-Africa Leaders Roundtable Dialogue meeting on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit in Johannesburg in South Africa. Shettima also commended the existing partnership between China and Africa, particularly the three newly identified initiatives and priority areas of cooperation in the areas of agriculture, industrialization, and human capacity development.
Creating mutually beneficial partnerships is challenging, but can be overcome through proper alliances, realignments, and the use of rules-based multilateralism. The key is to establish effective partnerships that could effectively respond to these challenges, based on 1, harnessing the agricultural potential of our nations, 2, harnessing renewable energy to revolutionize Africa, 3, fostering technology, innovation, and job prospects for holistic and equitable progress, 4, collaborative efforts on climate change and nature-centered approaches to development, 5, strengthening vibrant private sector participation among countries of the Global South, and 6, nurturing youth employment and skill building as a deterrent against terrorism, organized crime, and related challenges. 7, proactive crisis management and heightened resilience. And lastly, promoting proactive involvement of business leadership in shaping and improve an ideal landscape for trade and economic exchanges in the Global South. We therefore look forward to working closely with BRICS members and other regional alliances. Our aim is to join forces with nations sharing our vision. Our aim is to foster a partnership aimed at expediting growth and sustainable development across the African continent and the Global South.
We'll take a break here and return with a review of the stock markets. To stay with us. The bull is certainly unrelenting, if you ask me, as it dominated trading 4 days this week on the NGX. Well, cheers to the bull. Investors gained 1 billion naira in profits as market cap inched up higher to 35.89 trillion naira. The market breadth was also positive as 31 equities emerged gainers out of a total of 119 listed equities. Sky Shelter Fund led the gainers with 9.97% share price appreciation, closing at 83 naira 80 kobo per share, followed by National Salt Company. Now on the losing side, Prestige Assurance Company came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 9.43%, followed by Tantalizers. Now, at the end of trading, we see that 356 million units of shares valued at over 4.2 billion naira exchange hands in 6,569 deals. Now, away from the NGX to the global markets, that's the FTSE, the Dow Jones, and the Nikkei. U.S. stocks recorded gains after Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the central bank will proceed carefully on any further rate increases. Now, we see that the Dow Jones moved up to 0.35%, while Nikkei ended in the reds at 2.05%. And that's it on the business news segment of News Now. Back to you, Mary, for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Folashade, for the update. On the global scene now, the president of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Omar Touré, says the regional organization has not declared war on the people of Niger Republic, nor is there any plan to invade the country. Touré, who made the assertion on Friday while addressing journalists in Abuja, revealed that against speculations, military force is not being used in the cool-hit West African nation, adding that the regional body is hopeful that all diplomatic efforts will yield positive action, reiterating that the 3-year transition was unacceptable. Touré urged the military to return to civilian rule as soon as possible.
And the second question, what is ECOWAS' stance? ECOWAS' stance remains the immediate restoration of constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. And whatever we are doing, we want to serve the people of Niger. The people of Niger remain part and parcel of the ECOWAS space and the ECOWAS community, and we hope we can continue to serve them through the integration efforts that ECOWAS is promoting. ECOWAS stands for the restoration of constitutional order in all member countries, especially in the Republic of Niger, and through peaceful means. But if peaceful means fail, ECOWAS cannot just fold its hands. All measures will be taken, as the heads of state, as the authority of heads of state have decided. Again, this is about ECOWAS implementing the community's instruments. It is not about ECOWAS being against the people of Niger. We are in full support of the people of Niger.
In sports, defending champion Tobi Amusan has lost her World Women's 100-meter hurdles crown to Jamaica's Danielle Williams and Shokwen at the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Amusan, who is making a third World Championships final appearance, clocked a time of 12.62 seconds after a slow start. In an interview with journalists, Amusan said it was quite a journey getting into the final, despite all she had gone through in the last couple of weeks, and thanked her fans, promising that she'll be back stronger and hopes to get her medal back next year. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.